Boss, I know you're just coming off this mission, but there are reports of child soldiers taking over Massa Village after the CFA got wiped out there. They've been raiding the surrounding villages, so the people have requested we eliminate them. Check your mission list for the details.
Welcome home, boss.
Gaining altitude. Capture the White Mamba, the child soldier's commander, and bring him back to Mother Base. First off, head for Voila Yamasa. Mamba showed up in this village out of the blue and took command of the child soldiers. The surrounding villages have been victims of their raids and brutality ever since. But if you extract their commander, those kids will have no choice but to stand down. Should wrap up the whole situation. They're still kids. You can't kill any one of them, including the commander. If things get rough, neutralize them by knocking them out or by tranquilizing them.
So you're the so-called White Mamba. Something tells me that's not the name your parents gave you. You lose, Commander.
Arriving shortly at LZ. This is Pequot. Have arrived at LZ. Will stand by.
water heaven. We got rules around here. Never draw a weapon on a fellow soldier. You got that? Anyone here can use a knife or a gun. What you're gonna learn is how to use your head.
Let's move!
When you get that under your belt, then you're free to leave.
Job offers. The details are on your iDroid. Arriving shortly at LZ. This is P-Quad. On station at LZ. Gaining altitude. Rescue the 2 prisoners being held in a guard post to the southwest of Ngumba Industrial Zone. The targets are civilians, 1 male, 1 female. Apparently they're specialists sent out there to investigate infectious diseases. They were frequent visitors to that devil's house at Nzoyama. If you recover them, we'll finally be able to get first-hand accounts of what's been going on in that place. Be careful down there, boss.
on its way to the guard post. Watch yourself.
That looks like the target.
Formatie op 5! Ракета готова! Пацаны, хам!
Please save me. You've come to rescue me. I was asked to show that man around here. Dangerous work. I hated every second.
Thanks.
Target extracted. Now extract the remaining target. amazing, boss. Getting both prisoners out in that situation. Great work. Now exfiltrate. Roger.
This is B-Quad. Arriving shortly at LZ. This is B-Quad. On station at LZ. Scanning altitude. Departing.
Boss, we placed the 2 targets in quarantine. They don't show signs of anything, but we'll monitor them just the same. If they had access to the Devil's House, I doubt they were sent there by some health organization. Cypher used them, and would have eliminated them eventually. But we'll protect them here. They've agreed to that. After all, we helped them out of the country as promised. The mission's complete. But boss, they've been behind the curtains at Ngamba. They examine the patients there nearly every day. They told us the patients were being made to listen to voices on tape. But the male target added something interesting. He said he doesn't know what was on the tapes because there was no English version. Of all the voices that were shoved down those people's throats, English was one of them.
The boss is back. Let's go refuel and load up on artillery.
We're good to go, Chief.
What's the matter?
Stop this! Now! Give me a hand! Hold her still! Dismissed.
Payback for how they treated her?
Doesn't explain the others. She had every chance to kill them. Tighten security on her cell. This happens a second time. There won't be a third.
Boss, about Eli. I'd heard that one product of the Les Enfants Terribles project went missing in Africa. The age would be about right. Now, I'm not saying I think it's Eli, but I want to run a genetic test all the same. Don't worry, I'll have it done without him noticing. The test may take some time, but I'll tell you as soon as we have the results.
Boss, welcome back. Let us know if you need supplies, boss.
Roger.
This is B-Quad. Arriving shortly at LZ.
Your mission objectives are to extract the child soldier's commander and their captive, the General's number 2. This child soldier platoon decided to break away from the Mbeli militants. They took the number 2 captive and have occupied an abandoned village. Start by checking that location on your map. Boss, the child soldiers will treat you as an enemy, but they're just kids. See that they don't get hurt. Reconnaissance is best conducted from high vantage points. I've marked a good spot on your map. Take a look at your iDroid. The General's brother, his number 2. There he is, the commander. Extract him.
Bosso! Che mi sa di Sambuno?
Another group of child soldiers. No, must be a squad they had out on patrol. Security will be tighter now. Watch yourself.
Bangi ya General ya Bakala. Lumbu, Mosi, that...
Boss, another child soldier has entered the village. Must have been out on patrol. Looks like they had more than one patrol out. Security will be tighter now. Watch yourself. Roger.
Squad. Arriving shortly at LZ. This is B Squad. On station at LZ.
Alright, now you just need to extract the General's number 2. You've completed your objective. Now get out of the hot zone.
Gaining altitude. Departing.
Boss, about how we report this one to the client. I'll tell them we took heavy resistance from the renegade platoon and the hostage was killed in the firefight. Also, their leader wouldn't let himself be taken alive. I doubt the client will pay us for this one, but we got a big enough reward from the General's number 2 instead. And as for the number 2, he's saying he wants to join Diamond Dogs. I guess he knows what that means for him. He said, if I'm working for you, I can be number 2 or number 200 for all I care.
Boss, we have an emergency. Many of our staff are falling ill. At first it seemed like a common cold, but before we knew it, blisters started popping up on their chests and... Damn it. I'll fill you in at the ACC. Just get in the chopper.
Look closely. Those are the symptoms of the infection on Mother Base. The blisters on the body were full of tiny worms. Parasite larvae, most likely. But we couldn't find any adults. It doesn't seem to mature in the body, like a spargatum. We don't know the root of infection, or what causes symptoms to develop.
Boss, do you remember seeing these symptoms before? The bodies floating around in the oil facility, the bedridden test subjects at the Devil's House. This epidemic looks just like what we've seen on our hunt for Cypher.
So this is the weapon of mass destruction Cypher was working on in Africa.
Boss, the situation is urgent. We need to quarantine the infected and contain the pathogen. Priority now is to prevent more casualties. But the problem is, how do we tell who's infected? During the incubation period, we have no way of knowing who's clean. You'll have to try and guess who's infected before they go symptomatic and quarantine them. That'd be easy if we just knew the route or vector of the infection. From now on, if you even suspect a staff member's infected, use your iDroid to order them into quarantine. Given the situation, the men won't submit to quarantine just because I or the medical team tell them to. But they will listen to you. Of course, it's just a temporary measure until we find a permanent solution. But at least they'd be in solitary isolation so they won't infect each other, and we get the mental care they need. If we do nothing, we'll only lose more people. We have no choice. Boss, open your iDroid. I'll explain how to quarantine staff members suspected of infection. Go to the Mother Base menu and select Staff Management. First, take a look at the quarantine facility we've set up. We'll isolate anyone who's already symptomatic at the quarantine facility. But we have to expect that there are multiple staff who are infected, but asymptomatic. So how do we identify them? At present, we have no way to tell them apart. But there has to be something for us to go on. If you notice anything, reassign staff you suspect are infected to the quarantine facility. We'll monitor them and then contact you if there's a change in their condition. Correctly quarantining these asymptomatic infected will reduce the number of new infections. You should continue with your missions as usual. If Cypher is behind this, going after them should help us determine the root cause of this epidemic. Also, until we identify the pathogen, we can't fire or dispatch any staff. We cannot let this thing spread. Boss, get to the bottom of this fast. We're counting on you.